human culture within 50 years, that technology would win out and we'd have this perfect world. And this myth still is hugely powerful in our culture today. What this says, the modern world says basically, function well, make money, live for now, because that's all there is, and be a good citizen. Now, almost from the beginning, when this worldview starts to emerge in the 17th, 18th century, is that there's the reaction against this. And the reaction is what we know as Romanticism. And one of the key guys who looked at this was a guy called Jean-Jacques Rousseau, who was a French guy. And he basically said, this way that the modern world is going is drenched of meaning. Humans need to find a sense of meaning. We need to look to art, we need to look to nature. He actually daringly suggested that people in tribal cultures actually perhaps had more of an idea than a super enlightened Western person. Now, Rousseau is the reason that people backpack to Thailand. Rousseau is the reason why we, as a Western culture, have four-wheel drive so that we can drive out and connect with nature somehow. And what you see is that the next 200-300 years in Western culture is the story of the tension between these two things. People who say that to make money is important, these people say no, it's art, it's creativity, it's having experiences. These people say stability and being a good citizen is important, and these people say no, pleasure, rock and roll is important. You know, that some sort of quasi-spiritual quest is important. Now, what's really interesting is what these guys were trying to do is critique this culture without biblical revelation. So they didn't want to go back to Christianity. So this is almost an attempt to create a whole new way of doing Western life without... They liked God, but it was a God that they could define. So you read these guys, they talk about sort of a spiritual drenched world, but it's not the God of biblical revelation. Now, what you find is that ultimately, after the 1960s, there's this battle. Look at the 60s. The battle in Western culture is between these two things. The forces of conservatism, which are trying to say this is the way forward. And then you have these guys in the hippie movement, all of these different people saying, no, this is the way forward. Now, what's happened post the 1960s, these two things have collided and now stand close, where basically people believe both. So what happens today is you have a classic person who is, let's say, 24, and let's just say work in the city in the accountancy firm here in Adelaide, and they do this. They pay their rent, they obey all the rules, they vote, they do all that stuff. But then they get to this point in the middle of the night where they go, crap, I don't have any meaning in my life. This is meaningless. I was just pushing paper, going to my cubicle, and then they start to think, how do I find meaning? What on earth, am I doing something wrong? Okay, what I really need to do is I need to connect with experiences. I need to connect with nature. I need to connect with this stuff. And then they start planning their holiday to backpack around Thailand. And they go to Thailand and they catch a train out to somewhere and they stand above a vista of these paddy fields and they have this sense in their chest that there's something bigger, something mysterious in the world. And for that moment, their breath's taken away. And then they get back on the plane and they come back and they go back to their job in the city and they do that for 3 months. And then they start going, hang on, my life's meaningless. And then all of a sudden a cute girl comes across and thinks, oh, what if I had a relationship with her? That's the sense of meaning that I need. And they go and pursue the relationship, but then what happens is that initial excitement of the relationship goes away, it starts to get mundane, the structure starts to come in, they're going to start planning, and oh, this is all wrong, this is the wrong thing. Okay, what if I got into hand gliding? And what happens is, people today just get caught in this spiral between this and that, and this and that, and this is 5 days a week, this is 2, and our culture is constantly in this thing. This is why you have lawyers who go and do ecstasy on the weekend. This is the Ben Cousins story. He was going, I would work my ass off and train and train and train. I wouldn't even have butter on my bread, with the condition that after that 4-week block, he said, to quote him, I'm just going to go and annihilate a massive amount of drugs. So this sense of, I'll do the hard stuff to get where I want, but then give me the outlet as well. So if you look at our culture as a whole, what this means is people are on this sense of doing the right thing, returning back to childhood, being a teenager again, going forward, doing the right thing. And it's this constant spiral where you never reach adulthood. Church looks like this. And then there's this sort of constant questioning, hang on, am I doing the right thing? This doesn't feel right. Oh my goodness, what if I shacked up with that person? What if I slept with that person? What if I hung out with my uni mates? What if I did that? What if I just went to Thailand for a year? What if I went to that other church? What if I got into Celtic spirituality? What if I went to that mega church? Whatever. And it's this constant sense of struggle. And therefore, what happens is this system is completely subverting our whole sense of being an adult. And I think the biblical pattern of what it is to be an adult. Now, I believe that part of the key of young adult ministry needs to be approached like this. That firstly, whether you're dealing with an unchurched person or a church kid or whatever, young adult, or even this is going to probably work with 50-year-olds in your congregation, to be 100% honest, because it's a young adult culture. And this is what I find. My whole thing is like, oh, okay, I'm a young adult specialist who now keeps getting asked and having conversations with 50-year-olds, and it's the exact same conversations I'm having with 24-year-olds. It's totally bizarre because it's taken over the whole thing. Anyway, so the first thing is you have to question this stuff. You have to question, why do you have to keep searching for meaning? You know, and like for me, the trouble with para stuff, all of that is purely just knocking down the idols. Will a new car make you happy? We're going to backpack around Guatemala for the next 7 years and not have any responsibility. I'm sure you've probably run out of seeing everything in Guatemala after 7 years, but anyway, is questioning these idols. And like at our church, which is all young adults, we just have to hit this again and again. It's not enough to just do your 3 weeks on the trouble with Paris. This is another sales pitch. Like you've got to buy it 18 times. You just have to constantly return to this. You have to constantly return. You know, because something comes back. You know, Eat, Pray, Love is the new thing. You know, Eat, Pray, Love, the book, now it's the movie. All of a sudden, you know, the whole thing is like, you know, the domestic relationship's bad, this stuff's bad. You know, you've got to go on this trip where she goes to Italy and eats for a month or whatever it is, and eats all the Italian food, and then she goes to India and does the holy thing and prays, but then she finds love. And you know, there's bazillions of girls across the world who that's just like, because they feel this sense of lack of meaning in their lives. They're sitting in offices, doing jobs, sitting at home with kids going, oh, I miss that meaning. And instead of thinking about God, or instead of questioning, it goes to this. It's almost like an off-ramp. Our culture's given this off-ramp, where in the past people have an existential crisis and think about God, and it goes, and there's the off-ramp to, oh, you just need to go on a gastronomical holiday in Italy, or you just need to have an affair with the plumber. It's just this thing that stops the existential question. So what you need to do is you need to constantly hit this myth again and again and again.
Sorry, what's the idols and myths?
And myths. So the myths of our culture. What are myths? You know, you're bored in life. You need more experiences. And I had this guy comment to me. Okay, you know, because I questioned the experience thing. He goes, yeah, but I need to have experiences because you experience through, you know, experiences grow you. And I said, absolutely, experiences grow you. And he goes, you know, this is why I'm going to go and travel for the next 3 years or whatever. And I said, I agree with you. Experiences help you grow. So what I'm going to do, I've got a mate who works in St Kilda with. For the Salvation Army, with basically junkies on the street. How about I get you a 3-year internship where you're going to live there and hang out with those guys, and you're going to have a lot of experiences. You're going to have people vomit on you, you're going to have people detoxing. He's like, no. And I said, no, it's just, you just want the pleasurable experiences. The culture tells you. I agree, experiences grow. My life experiences grow me. You know, when I want to do what I want to do, and you've got a screaming baby at 3 o'clock in the morning, and you've got to get up, and you've got a minute the next day, and you've been up 8 times that night thinking, why am I doing this? That experience grows you. But just that we've solidified in our culture's mind that certain experiences grow you. The experience of getting in the new car or doing this or doing whatever. The second point is what I call the great reduction. Now, there's a great book. I haven't seen the movie. People say the movie's very accurate.